Hi, I'm Jason and welcome back to part 3 of this Linux tutorial for beginners series. In the last session we looked at the pwd command, which is the print working directory, which if you remember enabled us to see where we are in the file structure. And we also touched on the ls command that enabled us to list the contents of a directory. And we also looked at the man command, which is a super way to use the Linux manual to understand the functionality of commands. And as I also previously mentioned in the last session, we'll be playing more with the ls command. But first of all, let's get to grips with how we can move around the file system from the command line. So let's start by opening up a terminal by pressing Ctrl, Alt and T. You've probably noticed I've made this a lot bigger for you to be able to see on this session. So we can see here already that we are in our user's home directory because it indicates the tilde sign there. But just to make sure, we'll use that command we've learnt, pwd, and it shows us as being in the /home/Jason or root home/Jason. So how do we get to the / or the root directory, which is the uppermost directory in the file structure where everything starts from? Well, we can do this by using the cd command, which stands for change directory. So if I type cd and then space and a /, this will take us immediately back to the root directory. And we can see our tilde has now disappeared and we have a / there, indicating that we are now in the root directory. If I pwd again, it shows us there we are in the / directory. And if I do an ls to list what's inside the root directory, we get lots of different folders and files. Now, the Linux file structure can be a bit of a daunting place to start with. You may be wondering right now things like, well, where is the program files directory? What directory is Linux installed in? In fact, the only one that you may feel safe enough to delve into is the home folder, as this is where we've started the series of tutorials from in the first place. But let's not worry too much about the different directories at this point, as I'll go over the purpose of each directory in part 4. For now, we're just going to get used to moving around. So the most familiar directory to us here at the moment is the home directory. So if I want to move to that directory, I can type cd space home and press enter. And if I type ls and press enter, I can see that there are 2 further folders underneath home, one called Jason, which is my user home folder, and one called Nikki, which is another user. So let's cd into Jason and press enter. And immediately, can you see I've now got that tilde symbol back? That indicates that I'm back in my user's home directory. And when I do an ls now, I see the usual things: desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures, etc. So from this listing that we see here, we can see that we have a pictures folder. So let's move into that one by typing cd space pictures, and we'll do an ls. And in here we can see we've got lots of different files indicated in the sort of purpley pinky color, which are mainly JPEG and PNG. So they're picture files, which naturally they would be because they're in the pictures directory. But there is one folder in there indicated by the blue word there, planets. And I know that's a folder because I have my colors specifically to tell me what color is what type of file. And the planets one is in fact a directory. So let's change into it. And if I do an ls, what do we have underneath planets? Well, we have another directory called moons. So let's cd into moons, if I could spell it right. And ls, do we have anything in there? No, we don't, because it doesn't show us anything. So we can see we've gone from pictures to planets to moons. If I do a pwd now, it gives us the complete path from root. So /home/Jason/pictures/planets/moons. Now let's suppose I wanted to move back one directory structure. How do we do that? Well, if I type cd space and then ... that will allow us to move back into the planets directory, one directory behind us. Now, if I wanted to move 2 directories back, so let's just say I wanted to get back to my home folder, I can also achieve this by typing cd space dot dot and then a forward slash and another dot dot. So basically I'm saying jump back to directory structures. If I press enter, I'm back in my home folder. And obviously if I wanted to go all the way back to root, it's easier for me just to type cd forward slash, and that takes me to root. I could, if I wanted, use cd dot dot slash dot dot slash dot dot slash dot dot slash, but let's face it, cd space slash gets me back to root a lot quicker. So I hope you'll agree now, just by understanding the current directory that we're in and how to see that, we can see how easy it can be to move between different directories. So let's look at the ls. Let's play with the ls command a little bit more. So we are back in our root directory, but let's just say that we want to list the contents of my pictures directory without having to move into it. And the way we can do that is we can say ls, and as long as we give the relative path to it, so /home /json /pictures and press enter, we can list everything that's in my pictures directory whilst we're still sat at the root. So we don't necessarily have to be in the directory in order to see stuff. Okay, let's try something more interesting. So before we listed the output of the pictures folder from where we were in the root directory. I'm going to change directory to my home folder. So if I just do cd and then tilde, and the tilde sign is just above the right shift key on my keyboard. So that's how easy it is to get back to our home folder. So let's try the ls command now. ls space minus capital L, capital S, and we're going to say home JSON pictures. But what we're going to do here is we're going to output the information to a file. And the way we can output information, if you use the greater than or less than symbol, it is the one pointing towards the right, which is our output symbol. And then if I put a space there and we need to name it something, so let's just call it output.txt. And if that file does not exist, this command will create it. So basically what we're doing here is we're listing the contents of the pictures directory and placing it in a text file called output, which is going to sit in our home directory. So if I press enter, and now we do ls, we should see there we have an output.txt. So just to show you that, if I open up my home folder, there we can see the output.txt file, and if I double click it and open it, we can see that it has given us a complete listing of all of those PNGs, JPEG images, etc., and even the folder name there. If I go back again just to show you what will happen, if I use the same command, but this time rather than the capital L and S, I'm going to do the small l and s, and we'll list, and it's still there. So let's go back in here, open this up again, and this time we can see it's overwritten with different information. So what we see here is the ls flag, which is the flag that I probably should have used in the first place rather than capital L and capital S, has given me information such as the rights for the file, the owner of the file, the group of the file size, when the file was created. So it's given me a lot of information there, and it's put it all in a file. It's output it all into an output.txt file. Okay, so if we wanted to do that again, but give a different output, in fact, let's go for the original output we had. But this time, rather than say overwrite the file, I want to add it to the bottom of that file. So if I put another output there, that indicates that I want it to append. So if I was to leave one arrow there, it would just literally overwrite that information again in that text file. But by putting the second chevron in there, I'm saying I want it to append. So let's press enter and we'll see what happens. So let's go back into our graphical view, open that. So we can see we still have the original information that we had before, but if I scroll down, we have the other listing version that I've asked for. So the top one here was the small l and small s flag, and the one down the bottom here is the large L and the large S flag. So we can see multiple views, and we can just keep doing this and appending different views. Bit of a pointless operation, but I'm sure you'll agree it's an interesting one that can be used in lots of different ways other than what I've just shown there. So we've used the ls command to actually generate an output of information to a file. So in part 4, we're going to have a break from the command line just for a moment while I go over the explanation of the Linux folder structure itself. I hope you found this tutorial useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.